We're back. Episode 10 of the Silver and Blue Huddle. Cowboy Nation. So amazing gaming. S-Perk is back. And of course, my man, Richblkman. We're back. We're back. Coming off a very good week. Cowboys Eagles. We won. We throttled the Eagles 33-13. And we're here to talk about it. We're here to cap a lot. At least I'm here to cap a lot because I'm happy. I'm excited that we won. In the fashion that we won, I knew we was going to come back and like throttle them based on playing at home. 14-game winning streak on the line, making them 15, but we back again. S-Perk is bad too. So he's going to carry me again in another episode.
I mean, I don't know about carry you, man. It was just a good game, right? A good game. Just like we talked about last week, this is the game we need to see from these Cowboys. A complete game on both sides of the football. Offense did what they were supposed to do. Defense came, shut this Eagles offense down. And now the talk is not, can we beat a good team? It's can we sustain these wins? Right. Because we got a tough schedule coming up. Got a tough Buffalo Bills matchup in Buffalo. But when you look at this Eagles game, the game plan was simple. Don't turn the ball over. Run the football when you get a weak box and find your playmakers when you need to. And Dak Prescott, again, another masterful performance from who we said last week is the lead runner right now for the MVP. Absolutely. Along with, there's a slew of guys you can put in that category. But the man he's killing it right now at the quarterback position. And they can't move the goalpost anymore at this point. He's done everything they've asked him to do week in and week out. Right. And it was always a big win, right? So amazing when it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Anytime it's a division game against the Eagles or anybody in our division, NFC East, it's beautiful. Niners fans out there, rejoice because you're all very happy that we also beat the Eagles. So I know the Niner fans are happy. But this man right here, Bob Oski, my man, he's all about defense, and that's what we did this week. Bob Oski said, yo, let's get some turnovers. Now, we didn't get no interceptions, but we got 3 fumbles. A.J. Brown fumbled. Slim Reaper, Mr. Smith fumbled. And Jalen Hurts fumbled. 3 fumbles is what changed this game and made a domination for Cowboy Nation.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm excited about, defense.
I love the game. I love the game plan. I love the way we came out. I love the way we played defense. And again, Dak Prescott showed up and showed out again. Like we even saw like Dakota Vick a little bit. But I'm happy for the performance that our Cowboys did, man. Offensively, I love the way we played offense. Like my man Esper said earlier, like 7 different receivers got targets. Dak Prescott did not turn over the ball. Like I can't even remember the last time Dak Prescott had her interceptions. Maybe like 2 or 3 weeks now. But hey, nobody wants to talk about interceptions when Dak Prescott isn't throwing them. So hey, the man is still at 6 on the season. He told you last year that he wasn't going to go over 10, and he's still on pace not to go over 10. So shout out to my man Dak Prescott.
I think he's leading, right? Is he leading the NFL in most touchdowns as a quarterback? I want to say yes.
Touchdowns, I think, and passing yards too. Those are MVP numbers.
He's number one throwing the football for sure. Yeah, absolutely. MVP type numbers from the Amazing. Quarterback that last year. And you know who you are. There are people in the Cowboy Nation. Like, it's time for y'all to come to the front of the congregation. It's testimony time. Some of y'all in Cowboy Nation was wanting to get rid of number 4 and said he was washed. He couldn't play quarterback no more. We want to see Cooper Rush. All of these things I heard, right?
We want to see Trey Lance.
I need to hear some of that Cowboy Nation step forward and kind of give my man Dak Prescott his flowers because he's doing exactly. And he's the thing I love about it is that he's been consistent talking to the media too. He feels more comfortable with this offense. He feels more comfortable with Mike McCarthy calling plays. He knows where guys are supposed to be lined up, their responsibilities. He's checking the ball down when he needs to. He's not forcing things down the field. He's doing everything right as a quarterback, and it's evident. And you got guys like Aaron Rodgers singing his praises too, saying we love the way this guy's playing the quarterback position. Tom Brady has come out and said great things about Dak Prescott. And I for everything I have in life, I just want to see Dak Prescott do this in the playoffs when it truly matters. So that way we can put to bed this thing of Dak Prescott's not an elite quarterback.
Well, you know what? That's what it is, right? It's that next chapter. It's that next chapter. It's like, as a hardcore Cowboy fan, we're very happy that he's doing what he's doing. And we need to see that next step now. It's the next step, going into the playoffs, taking that same momentum. playing mistake-free football, going out there making the right decisions. That's what, as a fan, we want to see. We're like, okay, you did it. You're doing it during the season. We love that. We're happy. I'm high-fiving everybody in my living room. I'm drinking beers, eating pizza and wings. I'm loving it as a fan. I just want to see it at the next level. I'm going to enjoy this win. We still got December football, and I'm just very happy Dak is protecting the football. Those 3 turnovers, like I said, and I'll let Rich get into the more stats on offense. Those 3 turnovers on defense is what I think was key in this game.
Absolutely, I agree. So just staying on the offensive side of the ball, some of the keys and some of the players that they had on offense. Dak Prescott obviously went 24 for 39 for 271, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions. Tony Pollard was rushing 16 for 59. Rico Dowd was actually pretty important in the game as well. He was 12 for 46. And Rico had an important run to me. It was like 4th and 2. And I thought that was a passing situation, but they actually ran a trap play on 4th and 2 and actually converted. Like, I was kind of scared, like, when they first hiked the ball and he kind of, like, got stopped in the backfield a little bit, but he actually moved forward and he got that 4th and 2. So, shout out to Mike McCarthy. His play calling this last game versus the Eagles was pretty good. I saw a few wrinkles, like some new stuff that I didn't see over the last couple of weeks. I thought he put a lot of people in motion a lot more than what he normally does. Like, it was good to see that. Cavante Turbin, he was going in motion like all the time. He even had like a critical run. I can't remember what quarter it was, but he was 1 for 22 rushing. But he had like another jet sweep coming off the edge that went for like 22 yards, which was a critical point in the game. So shout out to Mike McCarthy and this play calling, my man Big Jake, who's also an expert guy. So shout out to him over there, just hurdling defenders and catching balls. Like, it was also a play that he made too, where I thought the ball was actually going to get swatted, but Jake comes out of nowhere and just snatches it out of the air and just goes all the way down the field, man. Shout out to Jake Ferguson, man. He's been a beast, bro. Like, he really, really has. CeeDee Lamb is still tearing it apart. He didn't have as many yards as he had the first time we met the Eagles, but the catches that he did make was pretty impactful. So shout out to him. 6 for 71, 1 TD. Michael Gallup, 3 for 48, 1 TD. Brandon Cooks, 2 for 37, but he had a critical play as well. I think at the end of the half, where he ran like a post play and just ran right by the freaking defender and caught it and put us at the 1. So overall, offensively, like, they had a pretty good game. And I know Dak Prescott said after the game that he didn't have his best game as a quarterback. So I can only imagine if he did, like, we probably would have put 50 up on him. Like, he was 2 for 71. I think the first time he played it, he went well over 300. So yeah, I'm just happy we got the dub. I'm happy he was able to spread it around a little bit. I'm happy the offense didn't make no mistakes, didn't turn over the ball. Other than that one mishap where he fumbled and then Jalen Carter ran it back for a fumble recovery. But over than that, I was pretty impressed with the offense. What about y'all?
Yeah, I mean, again, big shout out to Mike McCarthy. Has the appendicitis at the beginning of the week, goes and has emergency surgery. He's back in the lab on Thursday, getting the game plan going with these guys. He's on the sideline with this team. I mean, you look at this entire offense, and like So Amazing has said, those 3 turnovers were the key to this game. If you look back at the first game versus the Eagles, they fumbled the ball in the first game too. They just recovered all of them. We actually got the ball this time. And when this defense is turning the ball over back to this offense, they are dangerous because this offense is clicking. You talked about Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, Cooks, even Michael Gallup gets in the game. Dowdle has a big game. He has some key plays. He catches the ball at the backfield. Tony Pollard running tough. Even Dak Prescott keeping plays alive with his legs, finding CeeDee Lamb for the first touchdown was all because of Dak Prescott extending that play, rolling to his left. CeeDee Lamb breaks away from a coverage that I still don't understand. Maybe y'all can make it make sense to me. But if you say you got one of the top corners in the league in Darius Slay,
right,
why does he not chase CeeDee Lamb? Because on the other side, any place that A.J. Brown went, 21 was with him.
Right.
And so,
but I think that's scheme, though. I think that's scheme. Yeah, it's scheme. Yeah. That's the
again,
part.
I don't think the Eagles trust their back end. And we talked about this last week. They don't trust that secondary to play against this Cowboys potent offense. And it showed. Dak was trying to find matchups. You talk about the big catch by Ferg on third down. That's against a young safety that's in the game. He's typically not playing. He's playing because of an injury to Reed Blankenship. and he just can't make the play. Ferg was just a grown man on the play, reached out, caught the football, then stiff-armed him into oblivion and ran for like 30 yards. That is the difference when this Cowboy offense is clicking, is that they find ways to extend drives and go get points. And then you got the secret weapon, right? Every team that's been, a Super Bowl winner has that secret weapon, right? The 49ers had Jerry Rice. He was their secret weapon, right? The Dallas Cowboys in those times, they had Emmitt Smith. They had Michael, secret weapons, right? Well, the Dallas Cowboys got a special secret weapon. His name is Brandon Aubrey. And all you got to do is get the ball to the 40, 45-yard line, and you are golden. You bring this kid in. He has proven time and time again he is perfect on the year kicking the ball, and he hit 3 kicks in this game over 45 yards, including a 60-yarder right there at the first kick. And there was no doubt on that first kick. Right. Like that ball could have been at midfield. He was kicking that ball through the up. Like, I'm talking like 70 yards. And when you have a weapon like that where you trust him, because if you don't make that kick so amazing, you get the ball back to them at midfield, the Eagles are in play to go get points. Right. To have that confidence in him to go out there and kick that football. This is why the Cowboys offense is so dangerous. And I like their chances going up against some tough opponents coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
And yeah, just to piggyback on what you're saying, like Aubrey too, and I'm gonna go right into my Cowbell Player of the week. And for the first time ever, we got a double. More Cowbell, baby. Cowbell Player of the game. I has to go to Brandon Aubrey with his 4 field goals, 60-yarder and a 59-yarder, and then the other ones. And then we also have Stephon Gilmore locking up 9 solo tackles, locking up A.J. Brown, getting him his face. I mean, both of those guys were the X factors of that game. Yes, the offense played good. Yes, Dak didn't turn over the ball. Yes, he spread the ball around. I feel like we played a perfect game. Offensively, we balled out. When we didn't score a touchdown, we kicked a field goal. When you got a kicker, like you said, that can kick 60-plus yarders and make it look easy, it's a weapon. You got CD. Michael Gallup is coming around. They're implementing Cooks now. Jake Ferguson is getting comfortable. Pollard doesn't have to run the ball as much. Like, that's scary. As a Cowboy fan, I'm happy. But to the other teams out there, they're nervous because they're like, wait a minute, hold up. Cowboys got defense and their offense is not turning the ball over?
And we making kicks?
It's getting scary.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you couldn't have picked 2 better guys to win the Cowbell, Gilmore and Aubrey, two guys that made huge impacts for the entire game. Yeah.
Cowbell players of the game, man. I mean, wow.
Especially coming off a time where, like, last year as Cowboy fans, where we had kicking problems. Like, even though in that first playoff game against Tampa Bay, where what was his name? I forget his name. The man missed every freaking Brett Maher. How he missed every field goal, like every PAT. Like, coming off that and then going into the new season where we didn't know who our kicker was going to be, and Brandon Aubrey comes out of nowhere and wins the job and hasn't missed all year long, like, that is a relief. Like, we're going into the playoffs and we got a good kicker who can make kicks. Like, that's kind of like one of the things that we was kind of missing like the last couple of years was kickers. So now we got a reliable one. I think we're looking good. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say, you know his background, right? You guys know Brandon Aubrey, like from MLS, he's a soccer player, and then all that stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he went to USFL. He kicked at the USFL
for one season, right? It was like one season.
Yeah, one season. He goes to the Cowboy camp. He's in a dogfighting Cowboy camp to win this kicker job. He did not kick well. If you talk to the Cowboys, they tell you he did not kick well enough in camp to be the outright winner. But he was just a little bit better than everybody they had in camp. The Cowboys were looking at some veterans to bring in to take this job, and then they give Aubrey the chance to kick. He's done an amazing job not missing. Now, he's missed the extra point, but he's not missed a single field goal. And so it's just an extra layer of confidence that you have, right? And we've gone through some kickers after Dan Bailey where we just didn't have that confidence in kickers to say, okay, typically when the kicker comes out, you're like, oh my God, please make this. Now, all I'm doing now is that's my opportunity to refill my drink because Aubrey's coming in. It's okay. He's making this. Let's go.
You know what's interesting about Aubrey too? Because like I live where I live is like a big soccer community, right? And it's like people be like, oh, well, he wasn't kicking that good in the beginning. Because you got to realize he's also trying to transition to kicking a different shaped ball. Yeah. He's been kicking a round ball his entire life. You know what I mean? He only knew soccer his entire life. Didn't even play football, he said. Supposedly the background thing. The wife is the one that said, why don't you go try out? Supposedly he was just like working from home or working an office job or something before he even decided to go try out for the USFL. So, that story is amazing. And now he's starting to get like the trajectory. Do you see he's even using, did you guys watch him do the kickoffs? He's using the kickoff as practice.
Yeah, he's going
like curving the ball. He's curving the ball, hitting the goalpost. He's doing that on purpose. People are like, "Oh no, it's a coincidence." No, you don't hit the field goal twice.
Right.
No, he's got a leg on him. Yeah, for sure.
So I feel special teams goes along with defense. So shout out to the defense. Shout out to special teams. 3 turnovers, three like huge ones too. Like Jalen Hurts fumble, punch out by Marquise Bell, and then Hooker. Like it was just an all around. Like everybody was just balling.
And then you got to look at when those fumbles happen. 2 of them are the Eagles are about to be in the red zone. One, they're in the red zone. Another one, they're right at the edge of the red zone, right at the 20-yard line, and Hurts fumbles. And so they're key fumbles at key times. And this is what Dan Quinn has preached, right? The play is never over. Get the tackle, rip the ball out. Now, they did it versus the Eagles in the first game, but again, I said they didn't recover those balls. This time, they're pouncing on the football. The Jalen Hurts fumble was probably the biggest one, right? Because Jalen Hurts is known for running the ball, extending plays, and he was a little hesitant after that fumble, right? You can't run as much when you're worried about fumbling the football. You got too many guys trying to punch the ball out. The Marquise Bell one was just beautiful, just a straight peanut punch. Shout out to my homie Charles Tillman creating the peanut punch. And like, just a great play by a player that we talked about last week. I'd say Marquise Bell's just not getting enough credit on his defense. And Marquise here he goes and makes a huge play. And he is a New Jersey guy. And he has played so well. And then one thing I don't like, though, is that we're not getting to the quarterback as much as we were on this defense. And so I wanted to ask you guys, is it a product of us getting held more and not getting calls? Or maybe Dan Quinn is just sending those front 4 and trusting those back guys to play defense, because they blitzed a lot in the first 6 weeks of the season, where now they're really not blitzing a lot. They're really only bringing 4 guys. It's sometimes only 3.
Right. How did you take that one, Rich? Yeah, good.
I think like most of the time, like looking at the Eagles, and probably the last couple of teams, but particularly with the Eagles, they are habitual holders. Like they hold you like every single time, and the person they double teaming Micah as well, but. I think a lot of it has to do with the holding, but I also think that we are facing a little bit better offensive lines these last couple of weeks, to where it may be a little bit tougher to get to the quarterback. But as long as we contain them, I mean, I think I'm okay with that. But I think it's kind of like a product of both. The first couple of weeks, we weren't playing those offensive lines that was pretty strong, and we was able to get to the quarterback fairly easy. But the last couple of weeks that we've been playing the the Commanders and like everybody else in Seattle and Philadelphia, they got some pretty strong offensive. A pretty good offensive line. So it's kind of like a product of both a little bit. But there's a lot of holding. And I know Philadelphia is notorious for their holding that they do.
And you know what it is too? You got to realize a lot of these teams, they're scheming for us, right? So it's you're getting towards the end of the season. They're watching game film. They know.
Oh, what happened to him?
Uh-oh. Do we lose So Amazing?
I think so.
Again, I agree. I think it's a product of so many different things, right? Mm-hmm. You got teams that are game planning versus your front guys. Obviously, Micah Parsons is getting a ton of attention right now. But if you look at some of these games, I just don't understand how Micah Parsons is not getting some of these calls. And I think there's going to come a point where, it's just like in the NBA. Jordan got calls because his name was Michael Jordan, right? LeBron gets calls because he's LeBron. And Luka Doncic is not getting some of those calls yet, right? So maybe Micah Parsons is in that group where he's not the Reggie Whites. He's not, the DeMarcus Wares of the group. He's got to kind of still earn that respect with these officials to get some of these calls. Right. And then I also think, Micah talked after the game about he's not one of those guys that complains and flops and does all that thing to draw attention to that thing. And I think that's a part of his game. He's got to understand that's a part of football, right? You saw the Eagles when they felt they were getting held, they're doing circles and spinning and they're flailing their arms in the air. Sometimes that's what you got to do to get the official to kind of understand what's going on, that you're getting held, because it's happening on a consistent basis versus one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. And so I think when you look at some of these games coming up with Buffalo, with Miami, two teams that have mobile quarterbacks, you're going to have to find a way to create pressure against the Josh Allen, against the Tua, and you're going to have to find a way to get those guys uncomfortable in the pocket. So I think you're going to see some more blitzing. But then hopefully Micah starts getting some of these calls as we go forward, because he got no calls versus the Eagles.
And I bring up that as well, like piggybacking on like players like and kind of like the NBA. I was going to bring that up as well. I don't know if I necessarily like that, the way that they're like the players are begging for calls nowadays, doing that, because I feel that like when you failing like that, like throwing up your hands, like you pretty much is giving up on the play. And I feel like if they play through the holding or whatever they're doing, they might actually still be able to make a tackle in the play. So I don't think they should be able to like trying to influence calls just because they gave up on the play. Like, I don't think the referee should reward you for giving up on a play trying to influence a call, because I know I saw Fletcher Cox do it. I'm like, bro, like you still could have probably made that tackle if you didn't like just throw your hands up in the air. Like, we can't get to a point where referees are rewarding players for trying to influence them to get calls. Like, that's what we see in the NBA. I hope they don't bring that into the NFL, because I think that's weak. That's super weak.
Yeah.
And another point I wanted to bring up, since we was talking about defense, right? Like we should give a lot of credit to the Cowboys' tackling abilities, because they was flying around the field and they didn't even really miss no tackles. They made critical tackles in the game. Like I was watching some of the Eagles plays that they was running, like it was like 3rd and 9. The Eagles was running a slant. Like they was trying to run a little pick play with somebody coming on a drag to create open space, and Stephon Gilmore ran him down and tackled. Stephon Gilmore came from the other side of the field and tackled Devontae Smith, I believe it was, for a huge tackle
on a big fourth down.
On the big fourth, like he was coming on the drag, and AJ Brown was going the other way to try to create a pick, but he missed Stephon, and Stephon came down and made the tackle. So that it wasn't just that play, but it was a lot of plays throughout the game where Cowboys made tackles. Like the Eagles wasn't able to get a lot of yak yards because they was being tackled immediately.
Right.
Like that's why they run those plays. Yeah, that's
that's the Eagles' offense, right? Is to get the ball to those guys like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, get those guys in the open field and let those playmakers make plays. And you're right, the Cowboys come up, they make crucial tackles, they make sure tackles, they're ripping the ball out. But then the other thing is this Cowboy defense got the Eagles out of their game plan.
Yes.
When they were coming into this game plan, it was a lot of talk about run the football, run the football, run the football. And when you go down early, you got to kind of get away from that. And they can't run the football. Now, I still think they have one of the premier offensive lines in all of football. Across the board, they have easily one of the best offensive lines. But this Dallas front four, and now Hankins goes out in the game with a high ankle sprain. I saw Hankins on social media today thanking Cowboy Nation for all the thoughts and prayers. He said it's just a mild ankle sprain. He'll be back before we know it. I don't think he's going to play versus Buffalo. But that Mozzie Smith starting to get a little run. And so we got to see, does this first round pick play well? Of course, Odigizua playing well, DeMarcus playing well, Micah playing well, Fowler, Sam Williams. This front four has doing a great job. But now we got a big hole in the middle with Jonathan Hankins out against a team in Buffalo that doesn't necessarily run the football as well as Philadelphia can. But they run with purpose. And so they have a couple backs in that backfield that they will run the football, and they will run it even when it's not working to keep you honest. And then you got a quarterback in Josh Allen who loves to run the football more than he should as a quarterback. And so just like Rich said, this Dallas defense has to tackle and tackle well, not just against Philadelphia, but going forward, because they have some tough teams coming up with a lot of offensive weapons. And so you talked about, Gilmore tackling. Donovan Smith played well. Jaron Kearse played well. Malik Hooker played well. I mean, Deron Bland was kind of a no-show. You're not throwing at him.
Right.
It was like Jalen Hurts was afraid of him. And like he was like, I'm going to go test 21, which I didn't understand. Like, Stephon Gilmore is a Hall of Famer. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is a guy that is proven. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year. And he's not going to back down. And you saw it. I mean, so amazing. When you get a corner, like you played football, when you get a corner that got that confidence, he got that swag in his game, like a Deion Sanders, and he chirping and he telling your wide receiver, you trash, you not catching no balls today. Like, I'm here. Like, you see me. Like that bumps your whole.
It's psychological. It's psychological.
It bumps your whole defense. Your whole defense is like, oh, dang, Stephon Gilmore out there talking. Okay, let's go, right? And it took A.J. Brown out of his game. Regardless what anybody in Philadelphia wants to say, A.J. Brown was not the same on Sunday night because Gilmore is in his ear chirping, and he's dropping passes. Yep. He's not running the right routes. He's not getting those catches, and Gilmore is talking to him. And then when he does get a catch, Gilmore's ripping the ball out. Like, you take a man's soul early in a football game, and you chirping at him like that, that stuff right there gets me hype as a Cowboy fan, because just imagine if they had 7 on the other side.
Oh, you're talking about Diggs. Yeah, we break Diggs
how
back.
Dangerous this defense would be if 7 was over there and 26
you know what,
was
just
in
like
the
you
slot.
said, like Gilmore was in his ear, right? But he also knows, back to the part before I had technical difficulties with my camera, what I was trying to say is all these teams, they're scouting for us. So they know the pass rush is coming fast. So they know, hey, we got to get the ball out quick. And the corners know that. Gilmore and all them, they know that they can't be sitting back there too long because Micah eventually going to get there regardless, right?
Right.
So these corners know. That's why you said they got that confidence to be like, yeah, you ain't getting the ball out because I know that ball's coming out in less than 3-4 seconds. So I don't need to be covering you for like 7-8 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. It was great to see.
Yeah. So I love it. I love your energy, the way you explained it, because I feel like the Cowboys defense needs that swag. They're going to need it.
I know it don't look like it, but your boy Expert played corner in high school and college. That's what I played. And I used to play just like that, chirp in your ear. I'm for a football player, I was big, 6'1", 200 pounds. I get in your face. I was in your ear talking to you.
You and Jason Sehorn?
Yes,
a white boy corner?
Listen. As you can see, the Deion Sanders is on the wall. I wanted to be Deion my whole life. And so I played football like Deion Sanders.
White chocolate.
Yes, with the gloves and the neck band and everything. And I would chirp the whole game. And I love to see that from a corner. And Gilmore, that not only chirps, but he can back it up when he starts talking. And you haven't seen him do that all year. He's not really talking. But but So Amazing talked about it in the pre-show. A.J. Brown was calling Gilmore old. Like, you old. You can't cover me. You too old. You in your 30s, dog. You can't cover out here. This is a young man's game. And Gilmore took that personally. And he said, I got you. I'm going to lead the team in tackles. I'm going to force a fumble from you. And you not even going to have a game. You're going to be on that sideline yelling at your quarterback, talking about throw me the football. I'm not getting enough touches.
I'm telling you, I think football is mental, bro. It's a mental thing. It's a mental state of mind. Like you got to realize all those guys on the football field are talented, all of them. You get inside here, this is what makes and breaks a player big time. And I think that's what happens with Dak too, right, Rich?
Yeah.
Dak, I think when he gets caught up here, that's when his turnovers come.
Yeah, he's playing amazing now, so I love it. I love it.
He said, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
I love it. So that was a good win. We'll talk about like playoff implications a little bit later as well, but that was a good win. We number 2 seeded right now. Obviously, we got to take care of our business and maybe hope that Philadelphia lose another game between here and the end of the season, because if they don't and we went out and they went out, then they're going to get the division and we'll drop back down to the number 5 seed. But I think they're very vulnerable. I think they can lose a game between here and next season, because when you really look at it, Eagle fans really got to look at this. The way that your team has been playing the last 2 weeks, they kind of been playing like that all season. They just been kind of like barely getting by and kind of escaping on the other team making a mistake and you guys winning the game. The game with Buffalo, that should have been an L. The Commanders had y'all like twice. Like they was up on y'all by like 2 scores, like going into the probably like the second half. But I know they played the Commanders a few times and the Commanders had their number. Scared Terror was going off on the freaking Eagles, and that's a game that they should have lost. So technically by now you guys should have had a few losses coming into
Chiefs
this game. The Chiefs
game, Scanley drops the wide open touchdown. You look at the first Dallas Cowboy game, they should have lost that game. I mean, there were so many games. The Commanders should have beat them twice already. They should have lost to the Patriots.
Yeah. So let's not act like you guys the Eagles just all of a sudden start playing bad. You guys have been playing bad all year long. So technically you guys shouldn't even really be in the playoffs right now if you guys would have lost the games that you should have. But those teams beat themselves, and you guys got a record that you are. So,
but that's the mark of a good football team too, right? Like, you win the games you weren't supposed to, right? And so you got to give a lot of credit to the Eagles. They fight to the last, the last whistle. They're not giving up.
Right.
They're winning games they have no business winning. And so now it's, can they turn this corner? Because this is the first time they lost 2 in a row under Nick Sirianni. And
now
if you want a cupcake schedule, they got a cupcake schedule going forward, right? You get the Seahawks next week in Seattle. That's their toughest matchup left. They get the Giants twice with DeVito at quarterback.
Now wait a minute.
It's Arizona Cardinals.
Miracles can happen on Christmas. And I'm gonna go with Tommy Cutlets from Jersey. Don Bosco Prep, his mommy and his daddy coming in attendance. They cooking chicken cutlets in the parking lot Christmas Day. I'm going for a miracle.
Let's hope
That's
so.
my Christmas gift.
Let's hope so. But we got to take care of business, and they got to lose. The likelihood of them losing is kind of like a banana in a tailpipe type thing. But they could. But we just got to take care of our business. The Cowboys got to focus on the Cowboys, win out. Then everything else will take care of itself. We'll talk about playoff seeding in a little bit. But let's move on to the next game, which is the Buffalo Bills. It's in Buffalo. Tough game. Buffalo just coming off another win over the Kansas City Chiefs. They had to fight for that. That game came down to some little bit of controversy. But, I mean, Tony was offsides. I mean, you can't be that offsides that bad. Like, that was just egregious. Like,
it was
just a little bit. Maybe I can understand, but that was outrageous. So they coming off a dub. We coming off a dub. It is in Buffalo. We do have kind of like a history with Buffalo Bills. Like, they the reason why they ain't got no Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, the Buffalo Bills ain't been right since the Cowboys like tore them up back in the 90s. Like, they've been struggling
them for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
If you remember a couple Thanksgivings ago, they kind of put it on us.
Absolutely.
In Cowboy Stadium, like we got a little get back coming.
Yeah.
And Buffalo's not playing real well. Like, let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing well. They lose to this same Eagles team in overtime. They've lost to the Patriots. They've lost to the Bengals. They've lost to the Broncos. They barely beat the Chiefs. I mean, listen, this is not the same Buffalo Bills from 2 years ago when they was torching guys with this offense. But it's in Buffalo. It's not going to be the greatest of weather. It's not in the dome. Cowboys have proven they don't play as well on the road as they do at home. So I'm anxious to see what Cowboys team shows up on Sunday at 4:00.
I just feel like we're going to turn the ball over because Josh Allen has been turning the ball over because he likes to do more. He likes to do that little bit of extra. He likes to extend the play a little more. And I think if he's smart against our defense, he don't do that, because if he starts trying to extend the play too much, I think that's when Micah and our boys are going to come and strip that ball away. So I have a feeling he's going to turn the ball over against us. Now, offensively, like you said, it's in the cold. I kind of wish I had Zeke just because of the cold weather. I want to see if Pollard, can he run and break, lower his shoulder, because running in the cold is a lot different than like running in a dome when it's all heated.
Right.
Yeah.
I just hope it don't go crazy with the weather, like a snow type game. I mean, obviously as a fan, you love snow games to see.
It's just going to be cold.
It's going to be in the 50s, high 40s, low 50s.
Good.
They don't expect any precipitation, but So Amazing lives in
that
New
Buffalo,
Jersey.
that Buffalo wind is just different though.
That can change too, right? Like, it might not be snowing and raining now. They might not think it's going to snow and rain, but that could turn in an instant, and that could be from a 50 game. It could be a 38-degree game with some snow flurries.
So they're playing on Sunday, right?
Yep,
Playing Sunday night at 4 o'clock.
All right, look. See, Sunday at 4 o'clock, that means the temperature is going to drop. So, yeah, you're looking at 40 degrees.
Nice.
40 degrees, mostly cloudy. Precipitation's at 13%. So, yeah, Cowboy Nation, it's going to be a cold game for them. So, I just hope they are ready to run the ball. Because this is where we need to see, can they play in these conditions? Because, yes, it's good to be in a dome and you can close the lid, but can you run the ball? When it's cold and the ball is hard as a rock. So, I mean, that's the only thing that gets me nervous.
I think we're going to be fine. I mean, I definitely think Josh Allen's going to turn over the ball because he's a turnover machine. He's been proving that the last couple of years in the NFL, but nobody really wants to talk about that because he doesn't have a star in his helmet. But he's definitely going to turn over the ball. I predict him to turn over the ball. I mean, they got James Cook, who's also right now in the season, he got 789 yards. So he's probably going to surpass the 1,000-yard mark as a back. Obviously, you got Stephon Diggs. Who covers Stephon Diggs? Gilmore? Bland?
Yeah, I don't think they travel. I don't think they travel this week.
Okay.
I think they're just going to put Gilmore on one side. They're going to put Bland on one side, and they're just going to match up because you also have a big wide receiver with Gabe that, no matter where he goes, they like to put Diggs in the slot. They like to move him around quite a bit. So I don't know if I don't think Gilmore or Bland will travel this week. Mm-hmm. But obviously, kind of like in the Seahawks game, we saw DK Metcalf started going off and Gilmore kind of went back and said, okay, let me calm this down. I'll go wherever 14 goes. And so we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, it's going to be about how do we get after the quarterback? Do we create some havoc? Like So Amazing said, Josh Allen, sometimes he likes to get, he likes to be extra, right? He likes to try and throw that ball in the tight window because he thinks he's Brett Favre sometimes. And so he'll throw that ball in the tight window, or he'll hold the ball that extra second, try and throw the ball deep. So again, it's going to come down to how this defense turns the ball over. And then just like So Amazing says, can we control the clock and run the football? Control the trenches and run the football in cold weather is key, because let's just say the Cowboys don't get the 2 seed or the 1 seed and they're the 5th seed and they got to travel the whole playoffs. One of those traveling spots is probably going to be Philadelphia in December or in January when it's cold, it's rainy, it's miserable. You got to find a way to win those games. This is a perfect test because you got the Dolphins coming up, you got Detroit coming up, and then you finish, I think, with the Commanders the last week. So this is really the last cold weather game they're going to play.
Yeah, 100%. And you're not going to see it again. It's funny that we're talking ahead of the time into the playoff scenarios, but it's true. I mean, if we go to San Francisco, all right, that's good weather. If we play at our house, we can control the temperature. The only teams, and Detroit Lions, same thing, control temperature. So if we don't know how to run the ball and be comfortable in the cold and like the frigid temperatures, if we see Philly again in the playoffs, we're probably going to lose if we go over there, because I'm telling you, it's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to slow the ball down. Right. And it's going to be a whole different game than we saw on Sunday.
Right. Yeah. And Buffalo is favored to win, like by 2.5 or whatever, but that don't really mean much.
That's embarrassing.
But
yeah, that's actually. Are you serious? That's what the internet says. The internet.
They favor right now to win by 2.5, but Buffalo is still fighting for a playoff spot. They're in the hunt right now.
They're not in, right?
They're not in right now.
If the playoffs happen today, they would be on the outside looking in.
So this,
again, another factor. This team needs this W versus the Cowboys. Right. So this game means way more to the Buffalo Bills than it does the Cowboys, because the Cowboys pretty much are secured in the playoffs unless something catastrophic was to happen, which I just don't see happening.
So they might be coming into the game with a little bit of more like we need this. We're in front of our fans.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I got a question for both of you guys.
More mistakes too. So hopefully that's
does. True. Exactly. They're going to be pressing. Yeah. They're going to press where maybe they don't need to press, because we're coming off the Kansas City win. We're on a roll now. We got one of the best teams in the league. Let's make a statement versus the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe they make a couple mistakes they normally wouldn't make if they had a better playoff position.
Right.
I got a fun question for you guys. We're talking about the new game right now. We just came off of a night game. We were just complaining about how, we're old, old dads, and we can't stay up that late, right? So what is your guys' routine like pre-game, like when you know the game's about to come on, is it different for when the game is on? Like if it's a 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock game, or 8 o'clock game, or is it the
way
same?
different?
Yeah.
Oh, way different. Typically a 1 o'clock game, I'm just finishing eating lunch. Usually we're at church in the morning, then we're eating lunch, and then the 1 o'clock game is coming on. So you're in that kind of that, there's no downtime, right? So you're just into it, right? Typically when it's a 4 o'clock game, you get a good lunch in. Then I'm typically kind of searching, the different channels. I'm looking at all these different games. I'm usually on my phone.
So you're watching you're watching football at 1 though. You're not just like one of those fans like that just waits for your game. Okay.
No, I'm typically I want to see what other teams are doing, teams that we may eventually see. Listen, I get made fun of in my house all the time because I feel like I'm a scout for the Cowboys, and I'll be watching the teams that we about to play. I'm like, okay, we got to be ready for this when we see them. But then when it's a night game, I try and stay busy the whole day, right? Because otherwise I'm a wreck when the game comes on at 7 o'clock. So I'm trying to stay busy, right? I'm going shopping. I'm going out to eat. I'm hanging with the fam. And then typically about an hour before the game comes on, I'm locked in. Everybody has to leave me alone. I'm the worst person to watch a Cowboy game with.
Are you eating dinner before the night game starts?
Yes.
Or are you eating dinner?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes. I do not want to be eating during a Cowboy game. I do not want to be distracted, looking down at my plate, getting something to eat, and something happened in the Cowboy game. I'm super focused. My wife and my daughter usually pick what TV they want. So if they say, hey, we want the bedroom, then I'm in the living room. Or we want the living room, I'm in the bedroom. Leave me alone. My daughter is real good. She'll come in there and she'll look at the score. If the Cowboys, like this week, the Cowboys was smoking the Eagles. So my daughter was in there like, yeah, I knew the Cowboys was going to win. But if she walks in there and it's a close game, or if the Cowboys are losing, she'll just walk right back out. She don't want to say nothing. But yeah, the routine is completely different depending on when the game comes on.
What about you, Rich? What about you?
Like for me, like if it's a 1 o'clock game or early game, like the expert said, I normally just try to eat a little bit of lunch before the 1 p.m. game. If it's like a 4 o'clock game, what I'm probably gonna be doing this week is like I eat some lunch, and I even like I turn on Red Zone and watch whatever is happening, because depending on the local teams that are playing, either Tampa Bay or Miami, depending on who they playing, I might tune into them. But other than that, I'm watching Red Zone. I'm looking at my fantasy team, and I try to sneak in a nap right before the Cowboys game. So in between like 3,
you like to be fresh,
3:30,
you
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like 3 to 4 hour PM mark, I try to sneak in a nap like an hour before the Cowboys come on TV. So if it's a night game, like a Sunday night game,
like
Sunday,
Sunday.
the same thing. I may even go run a few errands between the 4 o'clock game and maybe try to sneak in another nap before. I'm always going to try to nap before the Cowboys game.
Oh, so your thing is a nap. You like to that rest.
I got a nap before the Cowboys game, like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. So if they play the night game, I'm going to try to sleep between 6 and 7 or something like that. But I got to get a nap before the Cowboys game. So especially if they play at 4 or 7, best believe a nap is happening. If it's like a 1 o'clock game, I may sleep in a little bit, eat a little breakfast, but lunch. But if it's a later game, I got to have a nap. Gotcha. Because I got to be ready. Got to be ready, baby.
My only time I take a nap, I will say, if it's a night game. If it's Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, I do the nap thing. Yes, I do. But the thing is with me is I always have my brother or somebody of my family members come over my apartment. So like I always have pizza, wings, or we make tacos or something. Like we make something, and we wake up early in the morning. I used to do church when I was younger, but of course I don't do church now. I should do it more though. But every morning I'll do my morning routine, clean the house, we vacuum, clean the kitchen. Like we do like this whole house of laundry. Like we wake up early over here, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then as soon as like around 10, 11 o'clock come, I'm on the phone with my brother. Like even one day, one football Sunday, I was on the phone with Rich, and I was in the car. I was picking up my brother because he's a Colts fan. So I usually coordinate the games around the Colts games too. Like if his Colts game is at 1 o'clock and mine's at 4, we're like, all right, bet. But if his game's at 1 and my game's at 1, you know what we do? We start doing like, all right, look, we got 2 TVs. We're gonna put the big screen. It's gonna be Cowboys. The smaller TV gonna be the Colts game. Whatever game's more important, we're gonna switch. Like it's hilarious sometimes. And my dad's a Steeler fan, so I'll have like 2 TVs going, and then I got a little mini laptop just in case we need to keep the third game on. But with YouTube TV now, with the whole season ticket thing, whatever the heck it is now with the NFL season ticket, I could do a quad box on the TV now. I don't know if you guys saw that. If people that have YouTube TV, you could do a quad box now. So you could have all 4 games up at once, and then you click the one that you want to see, and it goes full screen. So that's like my routine every week.
Nice. Hey, like I said, I got to have a nap before the Cowboys game, especially if it's a later game. Like, I just got to, like,
and I do take a shot
because I'm not that interested.
I do take a shot before the game.
That too, and I'm not that interested in the teams that are playing. If the Cowboys are not on TV, like, I don't want to watch nobody else's team. So that's why I try to do other things in between the Cowboys game. But that's good to know. But let's finish it up. Let's talk about the playoff watch, because we're on playoff watch, right? So if the playoffs ended today, let me just go through the matchups of the NFC. We don't really care about the AFC. The AFC is actually a little bit tighter than what it probably should be, or what anybody even imagined that it would be. It kind of like one game in between a lot of those AFC teams. But speaking about the NFC, obviously the 49ers got the number 1 seed. You guys are welcome. Cowboys at the 2 seed, Detroit at the 3 seed, Bucks at 4, Eagles at 5, Vikings at 6, and the Packers at 7. So if the playoffs started this weekend, the Cowboys will be facing the Packers. Detroit will be playing the Vikings, and Tampa Bay will be playing the Eagles. How do y'all feel about that scenario right now?
Yeah, I would love to have the 2 seed, right? Yeah. Because obviously you're going to have home field advantage until you get to the NFC Championship game and you potentially play the 49ers, unless they get beat, right? Right. So I think that's got to be the Cowboy focus. It's got to be, hey, we got to try and find a way to get a home playoff game, right? Obviously, we play way better at home than we do on the road. And then if you get the Green Bay Packers, is that like a bye? Potentially. Jordan Love not playing real well. They got beat yesterday by the Giants. He's kind of up and down, but they're not as healthy as the Cowboys are. Obviously, I feel comfortable that first matchup, no matter who it is. At the 5 seed, even you're going to play the NFC South team, which is going to be Tampa Bay, New Orleans, someone like that. I have no doubt we'd go in that game and win. But then that's when you have a tough matchup, right? Because you're going to either see Philadelphia or you're going to see the 49ers. And we have all talked about this.
A crazy upset in the first round, but
right.
We don't.
And so we've all talked about this. If we want to be considered one of the best teams, we got to beat those guys in the playoffs. You got to beat the 49ers. You got to find a way to beat the Eagles in January. So obviously the goal is to win the division and be the number 2 seed, because you get to play at home. But I feel confident even at the 5 seed, they're going to get a win that first weekend. Then it's about, can you go and find a way to beat the top 2 teams in the NFC? You're going to see them at some point in the NFC playoffs. You're going to have to find a way to beat them, whether in the divisional round or in the championship.
Right.
I mean, I'm looking at the rankings, right? And I get it. Like, this is like, we still got more games to play. But when I look at that 7th spot, that last wild card spot, yes, Green Bay's right there. But other teams that are revolving right around that area is, you're looking at Packers, Rams, and Seahawks, right? I'll be honest, I don't want to see the Rams. That's like a trap game for me. I don't like that matchup. I don't like an angry Aaron Donald all of a sudden, and then Matt Stafford's tough out here. All of a sudden, he wants to throw dots. Like, I don't want to. That's a matchup I don't want to see. Even though, like, we could be home and Rams coming to Cowboys, number 2 seed against the 7 seed. Like, I'd rather play the Packers or like the Seahawks or somebody else like that the first round, because I don't want to see a team like that that's hot going into the wild card, and all of a sudden now they want to play defense, and then Dak throws interceptions. That scares me as a football fan.
Right.
I'm confident in my team, but I'm just giving a scenario where it's like, if this matchup was to happen, like, how do you feel about it? Like, I'd rather play the Packers. I'd rather play those teams. I don't want to see the Rams. I don't want to see the Rams continue winning. All of a sudden, they get that wild card spot, and it's Rams coming to Jerry's world, and, all of a sudden, Cooper Kupp healthy, Matt Stafford healthy, Aaron Donald is on a rampage.
I agree with you as well. Like I said, if things play out the way that they should and the way that the media thinks that they should, The Cowboys are probably fall to number 5 because the Eagles are probably going to win out and the Cowboys are going to win out. So the Eagles are going to take over that 2 spot. Now, if the Eagles play the Rams, then that's fine too because I think they can probably lose to the Rams. The Eagles are very, very vulnerable, man. So it really all depends. I mean, I know they tough to play in Philly or whatever, but they are very beatable. Like very, very beatable. And I think I will only really want that 2 seed because we'll be on the opposite side of the 49ers. But at some point we got to beat them. So the earlier we can beat them, I guess the better. But I'm confident that we can go in.
Ideally,
win.
right?
Ideally.
Right, Rich? Ideally, we would love to meet the Niners in the NFC Championship game.
Ideally, yeah. Ideally.
Yeah.
And that number 2 seed is going to do that for us. So if we did a 4 seed, I mean, yeah, if we did a 5 seed, we're going to see them in the second round. So that's just where it's going to play out. But we ready, man. We ready.
Or you're going to see Philly because obviously the 49ers are going to play the lowest seed left. So
now, do you feel as a strategy, do you feel that the Cowboys organization, because remember injuries, right? You don't want to play too hard because then you don't want to force an injury before playoffs. Now, is this like a week-to-week scenario, guys? Like where each week, we go out there and play to win the game. But is it one of those things like once we see like, okay, well, the Eagles are going to win out. Like, do we shut it down? Like,
no, I don't think you can play that way because you want your team rolling on all, hitting on all cylinders as they get into the playoffs, and you take your foot off the gas pedal just for a second. You have that tendency to keep it off the gas pedal because if let's say they take the foot off the gas pedal and they win some of those games. Then they're like, okay, we don't even have to play that hard and we're getting these W's. So for me, I just say you go and take care of your business, let the chips fall where they may, and then let's go. Obviously, you're in to beat good teams, right? The Panthers are not going to be there waiting for you in the NFC Championship. It's going to be the 49ers. You got to go find a way to beat that team. And that is the big, boogeyman for us, right? The past 2 years, they found a way to beat us.
Right.
And it hasn't looked great the past 2 years. And it didn't look good this year in the regular season. So that's the boogeyman. And you got to kind of exercise some demons and go beat a very good 49er football team. Just like So Amazing said, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're tough. If they're at home, they're an even tougher opponent. That crowd is filthy. They're loud. They're rambunctious. They throw snowballs at Santa Claus. That's not the team you want to see in the playoffs at their home. You want to make them come see you. So, again, you don't want to take your foot off the gas and give some of these teams some hope that the Dallas Cowboys are not going to try and win these games and be the 2 seed. They're just going to concede the fact that the Eagles got a cupcake schedule now. We got the tough schedule. So I think you got to go into every game and say, okay, the playoffs start right now. This is when the playoffs, this is a lose and go home for us. We got to have that mentality. So we go to Buffalo. This is a playoff team. Let's beat this playoff team. We go to Miami, come see us. This is a playoff team. We got to beat them, right? We get the Lions. Everybody hyped. That's a playoff team. We got to beat them, right? And then you get the Commanders as a divisional opponent. You gotta beat down that team. Take their pride away from them, right? Go into this playoffs rolling as offense. And then we look at some past teams. Look at the Giants, right? When they had Eli Manning, they were a 6 seed or a 7 seed. They go into playoffs. They run the gauntlet. They beat the undefeated Patriots and win the Super Bowl. It's all about when you're hitting your stride going into these playoffs. You can't afford to take your foot off the gas right now.
Absolutely.
Damn, we got good football still coming. Woo!
It's a lot.
And I totally agree.
Good football.
And let me just throw this out there, right? The NBA just had a very first in-season tournament. It was in Vegas. And who won it? The Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most popular teams in the NBA. This year in the NFL, the Super Bowl is going to be in Vegas for the first time. Why not have the Dallas Cowboys there to win the Super Bowl? Like Vegas is going to make so much money if the Cowboys.
The comment section about to go nuts. They're not the most popular team no more. Like let's just keep.
I tell you right now, those ticket prices just because the Cowboys. Oh man, I don't even want to look at them.
It's going to be the most watched Super Bowl, the most gone to Super Bowl if the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl in Vegas for the first time. I think it's in the cards. That's what I believe. Like Cowboys going to make it. They're going to win.
I know
into existence.
We have to.
That's just my theory.
Because man, it feels it's looking good right now so far.
It is. All right.
Right now so far. But like you said, like we got December football. It's cold. We got Bill. Look at it. We got Bill. Oh, damn, it's gonna be crazy. I'm just thinking about it. Man. No, but that last game, like you said, don't take the foot off the gas. That last game against the Commanders is what gets me nervous. It's not about losing. It's about how do they go into the game mentally. Like, is it one of those games, guys, where it's like, okay, if we win or lose, it doesn't change our seed? Because that's what I think is going to happen. I think that week 17 is going to come, that last game, that Commanders game, and win or lose, it doesn't matter. Like, we're still going to stay at the same seed. There's nothing on the line. So I guess that's the mentality I want to see our team look like when that point comes. What do they look like mentally when that game comes?
Right. I agree. So let's wrap it up. Score prediction for the Buffalo Bills games, Cowboys. I'm going to go with, I know the weather's going to play a factor, hopefully. Maybe not too much of a factor, but I'm going to go, I think it's going to maybe like low scoring. 27-20 Cowboys. What about y'all?
Yeah, I'm going 31-17 Dallas. Big win for the Cowboys in Buffalo.
What about you, Mike?
28-14 Dallas.
Wow, everybody's thinking the Buffalo Bills are going to struggle like that? I hope so.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle against our defense.
Wow. Well, that'll do it for another. That'll do it for another episode of the Silver and Blue Huddle, episode number 10. Expert Corner, So Amazing, New Jersey. Cowboys come out with a victory over the Eagles. Next up is the Buffalo Bills. And then after that, we got more business to take care of. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you look at the comments. Write a comment. We'll answer your comment. We'll write you back. Follow us on all our social medias, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, So Amazing New Jersey, Expert Corner, Richblkman. You'll find it all in the comments. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you tune into the podcast on your favorite streaming platform, Google, Apple Music, Spotify. We're everywhere that you think that we're not. So make sure you guys give us a listen and give us a follow. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Silver and Blue Huddle, we out.